I love their approach. And, we talked a lot about that first pitcher we faced yesterday. I liked how they didn't take their time with the Flores, who we faced in the beginning. But getting back to Vallejo, I loved their approach. They made their adjustments. And like you said, Denali is a big part of that. I love what she's doing. You're kind of seeing more of a triple threat from her. So they're just starting to open up their games a little bit more and understanding that they don't always have to hit the long ball. And they don't always have to rely on the short ball either. So it's been fun to see that kind of come around and them to continue to keep working on it and never be satisfied.
Coach, congrats on the win again. All of your team's runs came in the first 2 innings, and you basically put the game away at that point. How important is it for you guys to get off to a fast start?
Well, I mean, super important given that we started a freshman, her first career start. And it just gives you that confidence of she doesn't have to worry about much except just doing her thing. And so to have the ability to beat a team without really having to throw Aaliyah White or Gianna Mancha. And I mean, Bree came in at the end there. So it's awesome to be able to get that win and shut them down. A very good hitting team. McNeese State puts runs up. So to come up on top like that, like we did, and to not settle after 2 outs. I mean, this offense is gritty. I love it. They keep us on our toes for sure, but they do some really good things.
You started Grace, first start for her. She said she felt more confident now than she did when she made her debut in Fort Myers. Take me through the process of starting her and what you saw from her, and then bringing in DeVoe, which is valuable experience for the two of them.
Yes. Well, we really just decided that, we have to give them opportunities because we don't want to wait until conference to give them those opportunities. And so just getting the jitters out of the way and just getting those learning moments in there. And the other thing too is they're different types of pitchers, and our defense needs to learn how the ball comes off the bat because it comes off differently for them. They're predominantly down ball pitchers, and you're going to get a lot of ground balls. And you saw us kind of misplay a couple, but then you have the great play from Kia London in the 5-6 hole. Not many people can do a fadeaway throw like that. So, I mean, it's just awesome for us all around. And I really loved how the team supported him with the runs again. So it was a no-brainer on being able to do that, knowing that we can always bring Aaliyah and G in because they're still pretty fresh, haven't thrown a ton of innings all week. And so, we're in a really good spot having that committee working together.
I want to go back to that, a couple of fielding hiccups in the game, I think 3 total. How do you plan to address that before next game against UNF?
You know what? They already know. And that's what's cool is it was things that we had talked about prior to. And I think once it happened, they're like, oh yeah, you said that. And we're like, yep. Okay. Now let's figure out how to defend it. And so I think you have to fail or just have some of those things occur before it really settles in. And what better way to do it than now? We don't want to wait until later on in the season. So, I mean, that's why the whole thing of having them start and having them pitch in this game. And like I said, we still have Aaliyah and G on the bench ready to go. So very important for it to happen. And I love that we have the opportunities that we did, and we have the experience now. And now we know what we need to continue to work on in practice.
It's a big week for Birch. Obviously, going back to getting a lot of playing time in that Missouri game, having a great series here against McNeese, and just talking to her, she doesn't seem fazed by it. She's very confident at the plate, learning from Kira. She says she's one of the best leaders she's ever been around. What does that mean to have her as a weapon there? Because I know you've always talked about you have a role for each player, and clearly you have a role in mind for her, either when she starts or even if she doesn't start.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There was big decisions at the beginning of the year with Katie Birch and even Kennedy Searcy because we had all of our starters coming back. And so we really talked about, we could possibly redshirt them. And Katie was one in particular where, look, you might not start right away, Katie. And she just said, Coach Bear, I've never been a part of such a great team. And I'm willing to give those innings up to be able to play on this team and be a part of it and be there. And I think that just like you talk about the leadership, like she learned that from Kira and, the Haley Bejarano's of the world and Aaliyah White. And so to hear a player say that as a freshman, very mature move, by the way, but understanding, all the pieces that go into it. I mean, she's playing like a seasoned player. Played for Great Britain. She's been on the women's national team for them for quite some time as a youngster. So she's got some great experience, and just that calm steadiness that you got to see maybe in the interview is exactly what she does for us out on the field. And I mean, she's going to make it very hard for me to keep her out of the lineup when she can play defensively in a lot of places as well. So that speaks to our leadership, from the seniors and the juniors, but then also the maturity and the type of athletes we're being able to get because, where UCF softball is out there in the nation, like people want to be a part of us and they love our brand and, and what we're doing, and they want to compete and play the best schedules out there. So.
Just kind of a quick one here. How do you plan to build on this series and game in general going forward in the season?
Yeah, I think just the series in general and how it played out, there is huge momentum. We needed those closer games yesterday. In the other two close games that we had, we didn't come out on top, and so they needed to understand and feel what it's like to have a tighter game, have maybe that so-called pressure on their backs, and still stay steady and win. And then to just blow it open in this last game shows that momentum. But I mean, it doesn't get any easier down the road. And I mean, we do that for a reason, because if we want to play the best at the end of the season and still continue to be playing, we have to put ourselves through that. So I think it's huge what we've done here, and we keep going, we keep doing what we're good at.
Cool. Last question from me. 11 games in, is there something you've learned about this team you didn't know that you can't find out in practice, that you can only find out in game action, that maybe either surprised you or you got an answer that you were looking for?
2-out hitting for sure. And then our base running, because in practice we really do put them through a lot of drills that require them to make decisions. And in practice, I'd be lying if I said that we don't make bad decisions. We do, but I think in the game we practice at such a fast speed that in the game it's almost slower than what they're used to. So they're doing a really good job of taking extra bases. And we had a line drive hit up the middle yesterday, and our players went back. They didn't freak out. There was no double play made. And so I just really am pleased with that. And the other thing, the pitchers, we talk about our hitters against this team, but McNeese State put up runs against some very, very good teams. And Aaliyah and G, I mean, they shut them down yesterday. So just to see them continuing to get better, and I think we saw them really jump up in their progression yesterday. So that's hard to see because we don't let them throw live a lot now that we've gotten into season. So I would say those things are definitely what we're learning in those games.